Hey guys, welcome to Natalie Clarice YouTube channel, the educational channel for all things love, dating, and relationships, where I help women understand how men think and what real men want. Whether you're navigating the dating scene, working on self-love, or looking to establish healthy, meaningful connections, you're definitely at the right place. I share respectable dating advice, winning dating advice, result-driven dating advice. You know, I like to say that my dating advice is not for all women. It's not, unfortunately, because this is smart dating advice for smart women, okay? And with that being said, I'm so glad to have you all here. If you are new here, so glad to have you. If you are returning, welcome back. So let's get into it. Wait a minute, let me open up this smoothie. This is called a, what is this? Broth House Farm Berry Boost, okay? It's a berry smoothie, all right? So I don't really want to eat nothing heavy right now because this is not my dinner time right now, okay? Ooh, this is good. That's tasty. I like that. It's called a berry boost. Berry, all right? But anyway, guys, let's get into it. But before I get into what we're going to be talking about today, I want to talk about this trending viral video that I came across, okay? And it's of your boy, Neo. How many of you know Neo, right? Okay, Neo, right? As a matter of fact, take a look at this video. Just take a quick look at this video, all right? Take a look.
1, 2, 3, 4.
All right, y'all see that, right? So I just want to talk about that a little bit, okay? I really want to talk about that a little bit, all right? I think they call it polygamy type of relationships, you know, that type of stuff. You know, I can't really get all into that because, of course, you know, your girl has no tolerance for that stupidity, okay? That's number one, all right? But what is really concerning for relationships today, this generation, you know, what men are trying to get black women to tolerate and accept, okay? That's what's really concerning, okay? What you see there in that video, that is a prime example of a broken man, all right? That's number one, all right? Let me make sure you understand. That's what a broken, hurt man looks like, okay? That's what a man looked like who had no father, okay? I mean, if he did have a mother, she probably was one that was just out working, trying to make ends meet. But that is a person who is hurting from being fatherless, okay? That's number one, all right? So what he does, okay, he has put this world, okay, of young women, all right? And just so that you know, the young women that you see in that video are an example of women with low self-esteem, no self-worth, no self-value, and low vibration women, all right? Just so you know, all right? Don't look at them thinking that they are really walking in confidence, okay? That is a prime example of what low self-esteem, low self-worth women look like, okay? If you want to see it in the flesh, that's what it looks like, all right? As far as Neo is a hurting man, all right? A very hurt man, okay? I don't care if he see this video. I hope he see this video, okay? Because he is a very hurt man, all right? And what he does, he go through all of these women, all right, trying to heal himself, okay? Which he would never heal himself because the way that he's trying to heal himself. So what he does, he goes and hurt women after women, all right? Because he's trying to fill a void, okay? He's trying to fill a hurt spot, a sore spot, okay? It's nothing healthy about that. And if you know his resume, all right, he was married years ago to the young lady, I can't even remember her name, but I know she's Candy's friend, all right, on Atlanta Housewives. I know she's very good friends with Candy. I can't even remember the young lady name. I can't remember if it's Marche, Shay, I don't know. But nevertheless, I remember he was married to her. And you can see that young lady is a very decent young lady. I know quality women, okay? And I could see that young lady was a good woman, all right? He didn't make it with her, okay? Then I know that he got with the young lady, Crystal. That young lady barely ran from him. You could see she was like running full speed to get away from him, okay? Because personally, and I have always said this about Neo, I'm gonna keep it real. I have always said, I really think that he's a sex addict, okay? I really think that he has a sex addiction, okay? And, you know, he does not look at women for as value. He looks at women as disposable. He looks at women as, you know, a piece of meat, okay? He doesn't look at women the way that a man should look at a woman, okay? He looks at a woman in a whole negative way, you understand? And this is why he is never ever successful in any relationship, okay? Because he has problems, all right? So what he has done, okay, and what he is doing, he has created this world, all right? A crafty world, that is, okay? And practicing this type of, you know, polygamy type of relationship, but it's really a crafty way to be able to cheat in your face, okay? That's all it is, okay? He finds these women who have very low self-esteem and low self-worth, okay? And who's excited to be with somebody because they have a name, Neo, okay? Neo the singer, oh my God, I'm with Neo. You understand? It's like they really get off on because they're with a Neo, okay? And don't realize Neo is broken, hurt, got problems, and he needs healing, okay? He needs healing because Neo don't like not one of them, all right? That's the sad part. He don't like none of them, okay? But they don't know that, all right? Because they're broken too. You see what I'm trying to say? So it's like the blind leading the blind, you understand? Instead of him going to find a woman that could really help him be a better man, he goes and finds broken women just like him, okay? So all 4, 5 of them, whatever it is, the blind leading the blind. Nobody can't help nobody, okay? Then next thing you know, he gonna leave those 3 women and go find 3 more others. You understand? Because he has problems, all right? So I repeat, ladies, that is not a relationship, okay? Any man that is trying to have you participate in a situation where they have 3 women on you, okay? And all of you all are acting like a happy family, okay? He wants you to be this happy family, okay? Why he screw her on Monday, then screw her on Tuesday, and then he screw her on Wednesday, and he back to you on Monday, okay? That's not a healthy relationship. In my mind, that is satanic, okay? It is nothing godly about that, okay? And because God is not in that, okay? And I just truly believe God is not in that, okay? God will not bless that mess, all right? Period, okay? God is not going to bless that mess, all right? Because that's exactly what it is, okay? Nothing but a big mess, okay? It's like literally nothing but a circus. That's exactly what it is, all right? And what is so just awful about the whole thing is that how men literally prey on weak women. You understand what I'm trying to say? That's the thing that really kills me. How men prey on weak women like that, like them, okay? And then have them doing the most degrading things ever, okay? And then try to put it in front of America like it's to be celebrated, okay? It's nothing celebratory about that, okay? That is nothing to celebrate, all right? And any man that comes to you and asks you to participate in some foolishness like that, okay? You need to run away from him, especially if you are a woman who do not believe or indulge in activities like that, okay? Don't even entertain him, okay? Because again, you all are not in alignment, all right? He's trying to bring you down, okay? That's what he's doing. He's trying to bring you down, all right? So if you are a woman that do not believe in that type of situation, Don't do something like that to try to make a man happy, okay? If you're not happy, it's not worth being involved in, okay? Your happiness comes first, all right? Never do something just to keep a man around or just to be with the man. You understand? And you don't want to be with the man on terms like that anyway, all right? You don't want to be with the man who says to you, in order for this to work, I have to have my other women, okay? You have to be okay with me having other women. That is a huge sign of manipulation, all right? That is a very big manipulator. All right? That's manipulation at its finest, okay? I repeat, if you are not okay with something that a man presents to you, it is perfectly okay to walk away and walk away with your dignity and your pride, okay? Do not allow a man to bring you down to a level that you're going to regret, okay? And especially if you're trying to do something to please him, because you should never have to do anything like that to please a man who say that they really like you. Not only that, a healthy man, a quality man, a man who has any kind of spirituality in him is not going to come to you and ask you to be a part of a circus like that, all right? So I repeat, people, you have to be careful with the type of men that you entertain. If a man is not coming into your life to upgrade you, motivate you, inspire you to become your best self, okay, he is not your guy, all right? It's not your guy, okay? I don't care how cute, how fine, how amazing he may look, okay? But if he is asking you to participate in satanic activities, he is a walking Satan billboard, all right? You do not need to entertain him, because I promise you, you're going to come out of there very, very traumatized, all right? Because that's what men do, especially hurting men like that, all right? They are going to traumatize you, okay? And you probably will need healing the rest of your life after they are done with you, all right? Remember, if you as one person can't make him happy, and the only way he's able to be happy is by being with 3 or 4 women at the same time, that's not your guy, okay? Not only that, he has problems. He has issues, all right? You don't want no parts of that, all right? Let him be and let God deal with him, okay? And you go to the left, all right? You keep it moving, okay? I repeat, that what he got going on is disgusting, all right? And for him to be literally posting that as though that is something to be celebrated, it is disgusting, okay? And what's really disgusting about it for me is that how they try to make black women look. You know, it's like really an indirect way of really putting a black woman down. You understand what I'm trying to say? You don't see white women doing that. You don't see Hispanic women doing that. You don't see Jamaican women. You don't see those women doing that. Why do black women participate in some of the lowest activities? I would never understand. No, I take that back. I do understand, okay? But this is why it's so important that you go get healing, okay? Because see, once you heal, you won't be a part of foolishness like that. You understand? Once you really, really heal yourself, you will never entertain something that degrading. All right? So I just wanted to talk about that because, you know, I've seen him several times post these pictures and these videos of him and his 3 and 4 women and then acting as though that is something to be proud of. He looks disgusting, all right? He looks very disgusting. Okay? And he looks like he's broken, which I know he's broken. He's hurting and he has a lot of issues. Really, really big issues, okay? Big issues that he really needs to go get healed from. All right? So moving forward, I don't want to talk about it no more. Do not entertain men who come to you asking you to take part in a relationship where he has to have 3 and 4 men. If that's what he wants, and that's not what you want, you politely remove yourself from that situation and thank God for revealing him to you, all right? That's what you need to do, all right? Because he ain't no good and he's no good for nobody, all right? All he's going to do is bring you down to a level that is going to be degrading, all right? So keep that in mind. Nevertheless, let's get into it. Oh my God. Ugh. Some of the things I'm telling you, they be posting on this social media. I have to speak on it sometimes because you have so many women that look at social media, you know, as really a place to really get educated from. And I personally would not refer social media to get educated from, with the exception of a few people, okay? But a lot of this stuff that be on social media, again, is setting you all up for failure, especially in the area of love, dating, relationships, and marriage, especially in that area, okay? All right, so today we're going to talk about 10 things that a woman must avoid in men if she wants to be in a happy relationship, okay? 10 things that you must avoid in men if you want to be in a happy relationship. The first one, men who do not spend enough time being single, all right? A man who has not spent enough time being single is not going to make you a happy partner, okay? This is why it's important that a man has the opportunity to do everything that he desires to do when he is young, okay? And especially in his 20s. I've said this before and I'm going to say it again. A man is not ready for a committed relationship in their 20s, all right? From 20 to 29, he is not ready, okay? I remember I had this young lady come up under my comments, and she said she disagreed with me about a man being ready in their 20s. Whether you disagree or agree, I'm going to say it again, all right? A man is not ready for a committed relationship as far as marriage in their 20s, okay? The most a man can give you in his 20s is a relationship, okay? That's it, all right? And even during that relationship, you may face a lot of hiccups during that time, and he's in his 20s. Because again, it is important that men fly their wings, be able to date who they want, interact with who they want, just get all of that out of them, all right? So by the time they get to 33, 34, they have did it all and they are ready to settle down, okay? When you meet a man who has not had the opportunity to fly his wings and just date all the women he desired to date and do whatever he do, you're going to get a man that's in his 30s that's going to be a serial cheater on you, okay? Because you married him too young. If you are marrying a man while he's 25 and 26 and 27, most likely you're going to have a lot of problems with that man, as far as women, that is, okay? Most likely. Now, that's not to say it's not possible. You have a man and he is totally faithful to you in his 20s, but most likely you're going to have a lot of problems with that man in his 20s, all right? Because I repeat, he's not ready for that in his 20s, all right? So those women who trying to rush a man to marry you and he's only 25 and 24 and 26 and 27, leave that man alone. He's not ready for that, all right? He's not ready to marry you right now, okay? Allow him to do what he needs to do. Get all of that out of his system so that when he do decide to marry you, he will be ready for you and possibly will be a very good partner to you, okay? Stop rushing a man to marry you in their 20s. It's not going to work. It's the same thing as when you guys have babies from men in their 20s. What happens? Most likely what he do? Leave you, right? Because he's not ready for that, all right? And men resent the fact that you are trying to lock him down with a baby. Men resent that. They wake up one morning and be like, oh, she gonna have a baby and I'm only 25. She thinks she gonna lock me down. Oh, I'm out of here. Yeah, that's what happens. All right? So I repeat, do not expect the man to marry you in their 20s, okay? You don't want a man to marry you in their 20s. And stop having babies by men when they're in their 20s. All right? Stop. Okay? Because he's gonna leave you most likely. Okay? Set yourself up that when you do have a baby with this guy, you guys are married and you could be a family, all right? Stop having all of these kids out of wedlock, okay? Stop it. It's not a good look, okay? Men who are controlling, all right? Now, I know many women think that men who are controlling, that's a sign of, oh, he loves me. No, that's not. That's not what that means, all right? A man that is controlling is a very dangerous man, all right? You don't want to be in a relationship with a man who is controlling, okay? It's just like when I see women who be even married, okay? And when their man come home, they have to get off the phone or they can't talk to people when their man is home. What? What do you mean you can't have a conversation with your girlfriends on the phone because your man just walked through the door? What does that mean? All right? Your man walks through the door, hey honey, and you keep talking. All right? Why would you need to get off the phone because your guy came home? That's controlling. All right? Especially when you live with a man 7 days a week, 365 days of the year, 24 hours a day, all right? Why can't you have girl time with your girls, okay? What do you mean you have to get off the phone because your guy is home or your guy just came home and you can't talk right now? That's controlling, okay? You don't want a guy to control you. You don't want to be in a relationship where a man is literally controlling you like that. That's not love. That's control, okay? Love doesn't look like that, all right? You don't want to be in a relationship with a man that if you tell him, hey, me and my girlfriends, we're going to have lunch on Saturday, is it okay? First of all, you shouldn't have to ask, can you go do anything? Let me talk about that a little bit, all right? Let me just talk about that a little bit, right? You are a grown woman. That's number one. And he's a grown man, all right? Of course, you're going to be respectful, okay, about letting him know where you're going and who you're going to be with. Absolutely. That's just what you're supposed to do in your marriage or in your relationship. Absolutely. But when it comes to a point where you're literally having to ask him, can I go have lunch with my friends? Can I go do this? And can I go do that? Now we have a problem, all right? That's not your dad. That's your husband or your guy, okay? You should not have to ask him anything like you're 10 years old, all right? And you have to nip that in the bud in the beginning, okay? So if you guys are in a relationship with guys or men and you notice that, you know, when you get on the phone, he has an attitude and all of that, that kind of stuff you have to nip in the beginning, all right? Because you do not want to be in a relationship or a marriage where a man is totally controlling you like that. You're not going to like that. That's not going to be cute. I can tell you that. That's going to get to a place that you're going to really, really resent him for treating you like you're a kid, all right? That's not what love looks like. Love is not controlling you, all right? Love is respectful, meaning that, hey, honey, on Saturday, me and my girlfriends are going to go have lunch. I just want to let you know, so we're going to go about 1. I should be back probably about 4 or 5, but I'll call you and let you know if I'm running a little late or whatever, okay? That's what it looks like. But you coming out just literally having to tell your friend, oh, girl, let me ask him because, you know, I don't want him to, you know, get upset, so let me ask him if it'll be okay if me and you go have lunch. That's a problem, all right? You're never supposed to be in a situation like that, all right? That is not your dad. That's your husband, and you have to make sure he understands his role in your life, okay? So when he's putting you in a position like he's trying to act like he's your dad, then that needs to have, a conversation needs to be had, all right? Because I repeat, you are a full-fledged grown woman, okay? Which means that you don't have to ask his permission to go have lunch with your friends, okay? You tell him you're going to have lunch with your friends, okay? And that where you're going to be, what time you guys may be going there. If you guys decide to do something else, you'll call him, okay? You're supposed to have that kind of trust in your relationship, all right? So I just wanted to talk about that a little longer to let you all know that a man controlling you is not love, because you have many women who thinks that control is love, and it's not, all right? Remember that. Men who have poor work ethics, okay? No woman should want a man who don't want to work, all right? No woman should want a man who is able to look at her work and be cool with it. You understand what I'm trying to say? No woman should even want any parts of a man who could watch her go to work every day while he sit home and watch television, all right? Poor work ethics means that you do not grow as a couple, okay? Unless you are just a woman that is just that desperate for a man that you're okay with him sitting down watching you work and take care of all the bills, which I hope that's not the case. All right? A man with poor work ethics is not a good partner and will not be a good partner, okay? So I repeat, you come across a man, he doesn't work, keep it moving. That's not your guy. And especially if you are a woman who is working every single day, all right? Once he tells you that he does not work, there is nothing else for you all to talk about, all right? The only thing you need to be saying to him after he tells you he does not work is peace. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. Peace. All right? That's all you need to say. Men whose mothers still dominate their lives, okay? Now you talking about a turnoff. Oh my God. That is such a turnoff. When you have a grown man and his mother still dominates his life, okay? Now, it is nothing attractive about that. I mean, anything this man does, the mother is totally involved in every decision that he makes, okay? You don't want a mama's boy, okay? That could become a really big deal in your relationship, okay? And not for the good, all right? You don't want a man who is that clingy to his mom, okay? That everything he do, anything that happens, you guys can have a disagreement. The first person he runs to is to his mom, and then next thing you know, mom is calling you, okay? You don't want that, all right? You don't want a man who cannot solve his own problems without his mom, all right? Again, you do not want a mama's boy, okay? That could be a very difficult situation to be in, all right? A man who is that clingy to his mom that he is willing to separate from you if mom's not happy, all right? So if you run across a guy and you notice that the relationship is a little bit over the top with him and mom, you need to take a step back and be like, is this something I really want to be a part of? Because most likely, as you continue with that relationship, you're not going to want to be a part of that, all right? Because some moms can really, really be too much, all right? So again, you don't want a man who is a mama's boy, okay? Nothing attractive about that, all right? Men who do not want children and you do, all right? You meet a guy and he tells you, hey, well, I'm not trying to have no kids, all right? I already got my kids. I don't want no more kids. And you're a woman that may not have kids, or maybe you're a woman that have one kid, all right? And you do desire to have another kid, or maybe two more kids, okay? And he don't want kids. Why are you coming together with him, all right? Do not sacrifice your happiness because you want to be with him, okay? That's not fair to you, all right? If he don't want kids and you want kids, then you guys are not in alignment, all right? Which means that there's no need for you guys to move forward in that relationship, okay? The best thing that you can do is keep it moving, all right? Because again, I want kids and I am not going to sacrifice that, all right? I want kids, okay? And if he does not want kids, you respect that, but you go live your best life and you go find you a guy that wants kids, all right? If having kids, or if you want additional kids and that makes you happy, you're entitled to that. You understand? If a man could come out and tell you, well, hey, I don't want no more kids because I got my kids, okay? But I'm good. So if you trying to have kids, I don't know what to tell you. So you're right, because I want kids. So guess what? This ain't gonna work. Just that simple. All right? Don't get so caught up in a man like that that you just go sacrifice things that you want because you want to make him happy. If you're not happy, what's the sense? It's no fair that he's happy and you're not happy. All right? So if both of you all can't be happy wanting the same things, you guys are not in alignment, which means that you all shouldn't be together. All right? Keep that in mind, okay? Your happiness means just as much as his happiness means. You understand? So if he's not happy, all right, if he's happy, it's important that you be happy too. All right? No ifs, ands, and buts about it. Period. Okay? We have to remember that. It's not just about him. It's about you too. All right? And if you guys cannot come together and be happy together, I repeat, you shouldn't be together. All right? If you guys don't have the same goals and the same wants and the same desires, you're not supposed to be together. Because guess what? If you just ignore that and continue on with the relationship, what's going to happen? You're going to face a lot of conflicts and issues throughout that relationship, which eventually you guys may separate anyway. All right? So I repeat, stop moving forward with things when it's already showing you what it is in the beginning. You understand? Pay attention in the beginning and make the necessary what am I trying to say? Adjustments, decisions that's best for you, okay? That's what you need to do, all right? Make decisions that works for you, all right? Now, I'm not saying being selfish, absolutely not. But I repeat, when it comes to one person wanting a kid and another person not wanting a kid, that is something that both of you all have to be in alignment with, all right? And if you have one that's not in alignment with that, it's not going to work. And I repeat, it's not okay for him to be happy and you're not happy, all right? That's all I'm saying, okay? A man who can't co-parent with you, okay? A man who cannot come together and co-parent, all right? That is very, very important. If you have kids together, it is very important that you all are on the same page when it comes to kids, all right? Or come to the kids, all right? You want someone that you guys are in alignment when it comes to the kids and their well-being, okay? You don't want someone that is always fighting you on everything that you try to do for the kids, okay? That's a person who cannot co-parent, which means he will make your life miserable, all right? You don't want a person who has this idea when it comes to kids and you have this idea when it comes to a kid. If you all can't come together and raise that kid correctly and accordingly, you guys shouldn't be together. Like, for example, you may have this man who feels that a boy needs to be at work when he turns 12 years old. No ifs, ands, and buts about it. He needs to be working somewhere when he turns 12 years old. You may say, no, he's only 12. He does not need to be working at 12. He needs to be focused on his schoolwork, being able to sleep properly so he'll be ready for school, okay? But you have this man who has this unrealistic expectation when it comes to kids that's just not realistic to a child. You understand what I'm trying to say? Because you really do have people like that, and those types of people really mess kids up, okay, because of their unrealistic mindset when it comes to kids, all right? So when you meet a guy like that, all right, and they have these unrealistic expectations that when it comes to a child, that's not someone that you need to be with. All right? Because again, he doesn't know how to co-parent, all right? The best thing that you could do when you come across a person that does not know how to co-parent, don't entertain him, all right? When it comes to those kids and those kids' well-being and you know what is right for that child, don't entertain that type of dysfunction. Because remember, a parent can really mess up a kid because of the unrealistic expectations that they have on kids, okay? Or the way that they think that they're supposed to raise kids. You could really mess up a child like that, all right? So that there is non-negotiable, all right? You need to make sure that is non-negotiable. If what you are doing or saying or trying to do with your kids, if it does not align with that guy and what he thinks that a child is supposed to do, and if it doesn't align with what you think is right or wrong, don't entertain it. Just don't entertain it at all, okay? And if you got to take it to the courts, take it to the courts. But first and foremost, that child's well-being must be first priority. Period. All right? And unfortunately, some parents really do not know how to parent at all. They really don't, okay? They're in the business of messing up kids, traumatizing kids, okay? Just making kids just, growing up in dysfunction because of the way that they raise their kids. All right? So if you are a healthy-minded woman who really knows what it takes to nurture a child, and you got this person over here that is in the business of messing up a child, don't entertain him. Tell him absolutely not. And as a matter of fact, we're going to court, all right? Because I'm not going to let you mess up my kid, all right? And remember, if you got kids, the kids come first in everything. Everything. Remember that. Men you are not physically attracted to. Why would you be with a person that you don't like, all right? Where do you think the relationship is going to go, all right? Most likely nowhere, all right? Because if you're not physically attracted to someone, it's very difficult to really give them your best self. You understand? See, when you're not physically attracted to someone, they get on your nerves just for looking at you. They just get on your nerves. You understand? You don't have no patience for them, because you just don't like them like that, right? So why would you put yourself in a position to be with a person that you're not physically attracted to, all right? It's very difficult being involved with someone that you really, really don't like, okay? When you really don't like a person, you don't want to be around them. And if you are around them, you're ready to get from around them. You understand? You really don't want to talk to them. If you do talk to them, you're rushing them off the phone, okay? If they text you, you don't reply to the text because you really don't like them. You're just not attracted to them, all right? So I repeat, all right? Stay away from people that you're not physically attracted to. Because when you're not attracted to someone, you really cannot give them your all at all, okay? Most likely you're mean to them, and that's just for real. When you're not attracted to people, you be mean to them just because you don't like them, you understand? And that's not fair. So stay away from people that you're not physically attracted to, because I repeat, when you're not physically attracted to them, you can't do right by them, all right? And that's not fair, all right? Men who cannot successfully engage in problem solving, all right? You have a problem, okay? You want to discuss it with your guy because you have a problem that needs to be discussed, all right? And you notice every time you try to have a conversation with him about something that you're not happy about, it turns into a major argument, all right? Or a major situation. And you were just trying to have a conversation about it and see how you guys can resolve it, all right? You never want to be with a person who cannot solve problems, okay? A person who cannot solve problems will be your biggest problem, and that is for real, all right? That is a very, very huge skill that a man needs to have, okay? Being able to solve problems, okay? Whatever the problem may be, all right? He needs to be in the business as a man to be able to maturely solve problems, okay? Because you're going to have problems, whatever that may be. It's just a part of a relationship. It's just a part of life, all right? Everything is not going to always be peachy and creamy. It doesn't work like that. No, it doesn't, all right? You're going to have problems. It's just life, okay? So when those problems come up, all right, you have to have a man that you're able to interact with about the problem and who is in the business of knowing how to solve the problem where both parties are happy. All right? So I repeat, when you meet a guy and you guys start getting a little close, okay, you need to observe that how does he respond to problems, okay? Do he just go crazy? Do he get ballistic? Do he shut down? Do he disappear and you don't hear from him from a week? How do he solve problems? Do he try to figure it out and make it better? What is his method in solving problems? You're going to need to know that, all right? In order for your relationship to work, in order for your relationship to survive, okay? He needs to be able to solve problems, okay? That is non-negotiable, all right? And you want to make sure that you're dealing with a guy who can handle problems when they arise, okay, and when they occur, and who know how to solve problems, okay, when they come up, all right? So again, pay attention to that, all right? Because I repeat, if he don't know how to solve problems, I promise you, he is definitely going to be your biggest problem, all right? Don't say I didn't tell you. Don't say I didn't tell you. Men who say this to you, I don't know if you all have ever experienced this, but a man who says something like this, men who tell you feeling is something that you do with your hands. You know, you may say to him, you may say something to him like, so how do you feel today? And he may reply to you, feel is something you do with your hands. What? How immature is that? All right? So if you ever hear a man say that to you, he is the epitome of immature. All right? I'm talking about super immature. Feeling is something you do with your hands. How do you feel today get to feeling is something you do with your hands? No. Okay? That's unacceptable. All right? So a man that tells you that, all right, most likely, I'm sure if a man do tell you that, it's going to catch, kind of catch you off guard, and you probably will just laugh it off, most likely. That's just the normal response. But just know, take a deeper look into that, all right? A man who says things like that to you is a very immature man with a very shallow mindset, okay? That's not something to look at and be like, oh my God, he is so funny. No, he is silly and he's immature, okay? And he has a very shallow mindset, all right? Because the reason I say that is because every time you say anything with the word, how do you feel, he will always refer to feeling as something that you do with your hands, okay? And you don't want to hear that every time you ask him a question. How do you feel, all right? That's very immature and it's very shallow, and you don't want a man like that, all right? Men you never feel accepted or okay with, all right? Men that you are around, but you really don't feel accepted and you really don't feel good around them, okay? Because they make you feel not good. They don't make you feel good. You understand? It's like when you're around them, you really don't feel accepted, okay? And you really just don't feel like they really like you. Which will lead me to the question on why would you be around a man who makes you feel like that? All right? So let me just say this to you. If you are in a relationship with a guy or a situation, whatever it may be, okay? I don't want to think that a woman will be in a relationship with a man that makes her feel like that. But if you are, hypothetically speaking, in a relationship with a man, okay, and you really just don't feel like you are really accepted by him, you really don't feel, really good when you're around him. First and foremost, you're feeling like that because he's making you feel like that. That's number one, all right? That's why you feel like that, all right? He's making you feel like that. For whatever reason, all right? And number two, it goes back to he really don't like you, all right? Because when a man really likes you, he would never, ever, ever have you feeling like that, all right? Have you feeling like you're not accepted or have you feeling like you're less than. A man would never have you feeling like that who really likes you. All right? So if you are in a situation with a guy and you're just feeling very, just unaccepted. You understand what I'm trying to say? Just know that's not where you're supposed to be, all right? So my advice to you would be, leave. Get out of there. That's not going to get any better, all right? If he's bold enough to show you that he doesn't like you in the way that he's treating you or the way that he's acting with you, that's your sign, all right? Don't have him bang you upside your head. That's your sign. He wants you to leave, go, get out of here. Basically, that's what he's saying. That's the only reason he's treating you like that, all right? So if he sees that you are staying around and he knows what he's doing to you and you're still sticking around like glue, now in his mind, you have got to be crazy. I'm literally showing this woman I don't want her, I don't like her, and she will not leave. Now you're starting to look crazy, which means now what's going to happen? You're going to open up a whole can of disrespect and mistreatment, right? Because again, he see that you are willing to accept what he's dishing out to you and you're still not leaving. So in his mind, let me take this to the next level. Maybe she'll leave then, all right? So remember, if a man is making you feel unwanted, all right, not accepted, okay, not okay when he's around you, that means he doesn't like you. He wants you to leave. He wants you to go. Get out of here. Please leave, all right? Don't make a man just verbally tell you that, all right? His actions are telling you that, all right? And like I've told you all before, a man do not talk with their words. They show you everything you need to know in their actions, all right? So I repeat, when a man is making you feel a certain way in his actions, that's because he wants you to get it, all right? And that could be negative or positive. And if you're feeling a certain way when you're around him, feeling unaccepted, feeling, not wanted, he wants you to leave. Because if he didn't want you to leave, he wouldn't be treating you like that. Make sense? Yeah, of course it makes sense. So nevertheless, I wanted to go through all 10 of these things that women must avoid in men if you are looking to establish a healthy, meaningful relationship, okay? These are signs that you do not ignore. Do not avoid them, okay? You have to pay attention to them because it will save you a lot of unnecessary drama, all right? And it will save you a lot of time because sometimes we meet men and they have a lot of things going on that are not good for a relationship, all right? And we have to learn how to recognize these signs so that we will have a chance at establishing meaningful connections when we meet men, all right? Like I've said before in one of my posts, some men are really, really undateable. It's just what it is, all right? Now, let me say this because there is no perfect man, but there is a trying man. And if you do meet a man who is trying very hard for you, you need to definitely entertain that man, all right? Especially a trying man. Let me say that, all right? But as I said, in all 10 of these things, okay, these are things and traits that you must avoid in men, all right? There is no coming back for many of these traits, all right? If you see these traits in your relationships, you need to keep it moving because most likely that's who he is, all right? He's not changing for you and nobody else. That's just who he is, all right? So I just want you to know, write this stuff down, lock it in, because like I said, many of you, I know you're single, you're searching, you're looking for someone special, meaningful, and you want to build connections with people who are solid, okay? And people that you can connect with and you guys really, really can work together. But when you're running into men who may have a level of, first of all, not having spent enough time being single, or, men who are controlling, men with poor work ethics, men who mothers still run their lives, men who may not want children and you may want children, men who can't co-parent, men you're not physically attracted to, men who do not know how to solve problems, men who tell you feelings are nothing, what is it? Feelings is something you do with your hands. Men who do not make you feel accepted or okay, those are not things that you can ignore, okay? Because if you ignore it, you're going to notice, okay? As time goes on, it's going to get worse. And this is where the conflict in your relationship comes. And this is where the relationship just continues to go downhill, all right? It goes downhill from there, all right? Some things you just cannot try to dress up. You have to face things for what it is, all right? Again, so that you can, you know, some kind of way, you know, have a what am I trying to say? Well, I'm so lost for words today. Have some type of, you know, desire that you're able to get to a meaningful relationship. You understand what I'm trying to say? The goal is to really try and get to a meaningful relationship with someone, all right? And sometimes we have to, you know, pay attention to things so that we will have a chance. That's what I'm trying to say. Have a chance at establishing a meaningful relationship with someone, all right? So I just wanted to, of course, you know, point that out to you all. Hopefully, like I say, you guys are taking notes and really putting these this information into full force while you're out here single, searching, and dating. All right? With that being said, Nat Nation, it's been a pleasure as usual talking to you guys. And until next week, you guys have an amazing weekend and be safe. Be smart, date smart, choose wisely, Nat Nation. And remember, I told you. Bye, guys.